Hello, my name is Christian Strother, and this is my audience. Hantavirus, Salmonella, and the bubonic plague. After I start naming off a couple of these diseases, you kind of start thinking about rats, right? Well, even though rats do cause a lot of these illnesses, they're a fundamental research tool. And rats are pushing the boundaries of what science can accomplish every single day. I do have some experience with rats, both in and out of laboratory settings, as I've studied my undergrad here at Ball State University. And I've also personally owned rats for about 2.5 years. And let me tell you, they can do some amazing things. This is all the way from detecting landmines and tuberculosis to even feeling empathy for one another. But let's start at the very beginning. Why do we even use rats in the first place? We start thinking about their counterparts. Rats are very small and very easy to house. If you start thinking about housing a dog or a rabbit inside of a laboratory setting, you can obviously see where they need so much more space and so many more accommodations. Not only that, but rats are friendly and they're so quick to adapt to certain situations, so they're ready to start experiments with their researchers right away. Rats also have a very quick gestational period, only lasting from 21 to 25 days. And their litter sizes range anywhere from about 14 to 13 babies. So they can do a lot of generational studies very quickly. Rats are also extremely similar to humans. They share a lot of genetic, biological, and behavioral characteristics with us. And according to the National Institutes of Health, rats have a counterpart to every known human gene associated with disease. So let's take a look into what rats and humans really have in common and how we can study some of these things. The University of Chicago did a study where they started to look into empathy between humans and empathy in rats. So basically how the experiment was set up was there is rat 1 and rat 2 in a secured environment. Rat 1 is completely free to walk around, but rat 2 is trapped into a cleared tube. And the only way for rat 2 to be able to be free is for rat 1 to free it. So they didn't want this to be too easy on the rats. They wanted to give them an actual challenge so they weren't just completing a task. They gave rat 1 the option to either free his friend or to have his favorite snacks, chocolate chips. And in every single research study that they did with this, rat 1 always freed rat 2 before going to the chocolate chips, and he even saved some for his friends. And this gave us a huge insight into what rats actually have the ability to do and why their brains are so similar to ours. Now, let's take a closer look into how rats can affect just everyday lives. So the real life usefulness of rats started coming up, at least in this specific example, with a worldwide organization known as APOPO. APOPO has clicker trained these rats to have a very successful sense of smell. They cannot do this regularly, so these are specially trained rats. Wild rats can't just normally do this. And with the landmines, they actually have trained them to detect them and to differentiate them between regular metals that are found in the ground and actual explosives. These hero rats are actually too light to set off the landmines, and that's why they're used instead of like dogs or people. For a rat to clear the area of a tennis court, it only takes them 30 minutes. But for somebody with a metal detector to do this, it would take them over 4 days. Hero rats also have a super sense of smell that allows them to actually positively test for tuberculosis in people. When they are testing for tuberculosis, they use sputum samples given by individuals, and they are all lined up like this, and the rat either passes over them or hovers over the positive sample for 3 seconds, and then it is tested by the lab technician. For a rat, they can do 100 samples in 20 minutes, but if you were to use traditional microscopy, it takes 25 samples in just 1 day. So you can see where the benefits of rats really come from. In conclusion, rats are an extremely valuable tool for researchers to help us understand many different things. Many different uses of rats just keep coming up, from different types of human empathy studies to tuberculosis and landmines, and even just regular lab research. Who knows what rats will help us achieve next? Thank you.